I had alluded to this upcoming event in a previous video, but in the overnight, the Florida Maquis crossed 10,000 subscribers. It was going to be very close to the 4 million view mark, and it looks like it beat it just by a little bit. And this has been about you guys, it really has. 15 months ago, when I started making videos, I had no idea about anything about YouTube, about how it worked. And it just has been a very strange road, and you guys have been with me, and the vast majority of you have been some of the most supportive people I've had in my life recently. Anyway, reminded me a great deal of my time in the military and the guys that I counted on and depended on then. A lot of you guys are former military, so that probably shouldn't be so unexpected on my part. We've talked about this issue with the Fitzgerald and the McCain. We've done 350 videos over a 15-month period. There's been other topics mixed in there, of course, but we've covered nearly every aspect of that. In today's video, because of this event, I want to take a little bit of a different angle and maybe explain some things about my channel, who I am, and why I have the opinions I have. I have attempted greatly to keep the opinions about the current administration to the minimum, at least recently. There wasn't a time when it was not so much. I am a registered Republican in the state of Florida and have been a conservative all my life. I have never supported liberal causes or progressive causes ever, and nothing changed in this election either. My issues with this man were about his past and his ability to flip in a moment's notice from being a liberal to being a Republican to the Reform Party stuff, all of the times that he's reneged on deals. It wasn't what he was saying I was disagreeing with, it was him. I didn't believe he believed what he was saying. And I think that's been the big problem with a lot of people attacking me, thinking I'm some kind of Clinton supporter when I'm not. They don't understand who I am, where I'm coming from. One of the things that brought down my wrath on his supporters was when I first started making videos, one of them, these people that took issue with me, first they threatened me, which, you know, when you're online you're going to get threats, but one of them showed up at my daughter's work and threatened her because of me. I live in northern Florida, and it is about as deep Trump country as you can get. So these people found me in real life and attempted to threaten and intimidate. And I kind of went off the deep end after that, to be very truthful. And I don't know many parents that wouldn't. It was a bad thing. I have to live separately now from my better half and my girls. And I have not spoken about this publicly. And this is where the term Trumpanzee came from, and why I refer to him as the administrator. His search term here on YouTube is a guaranteed way to get demonetized as well. So that's where that anger comes from. Now, strangely enough, you know, the channel has grown slowly, and it hasn't really been associated with too many other large channels until recently. The biggest channel that picked up our information was James Munder. And on the 22nd, he actually included our assertions about the transponder that went all sorts of haywire aboard the ACX Crystal. And he tried to put that out there, and then we didn't realize that he had done it until the 23rd, and then we acknowledged it. And then on the 24th, strangely enough, this guy shows up outside and hacks his computer, destroys it. Now, one of the other things that I didn't tell anybody or this audience, because I didn't want to give these people a voice, was some months ago when I had a video that was mysteriously hacked and taken down offline. I came back the next morning And every single video that I had done, and at that time it was hundreds of videos, were gone off of my hard drive. Wiped. Completely deleted, disappeared, no trace of them, no getting them back, anything. And I didn't want to, I wanted to make a video about it and tell everybody about it, but I'm like, you know what, no, I am not going to give these people a forum, I'm not going to give them a shout out. And it was the strangest thing. And so I lost all of them. I mean, they were still on YouTube, but my personal copies were all gone off the hard drive. So I thought it was just me, but then this happened. And I went back through James Munder, and I looked at all of the topics that he had talked about up until that point, and he hadn't talked about anything new. He had talked about all sorts of different things with the Q stuff and different things that were his standard focus on his channel, but ours was new. Talking about the Florida Maquis and talking about the issue with the Fitzgerald and McCain was new. And I just find it a strange coincidence that it was only a matter of days after that this happened. The other channel that has helped us out and stood up for the sailors is Jennifer Hammonds. She's a former Navy sailor who was aboard the O'Kane and the Hopper, and she has taken up the mantle for the sailors and for truth about the Fitzgerald and truth about the McCain. And strangely enough, and I will leave this to her, and because I'm not going to speak for her, but she has communicated to me that she has been contacted and she has been attacked because of her associations with the Florida Maquis. So I guess the entire point there is that when I started speaking about this, I got viciously attacked. And when people started supporting me and being associated with me, they've been viciously attacked. My family's been attacked. And you're never going to hear me say a nice thing about Obama or Clinton, but you're sure as hell never going to hear me say a nice thing about this guy or his supporters. Because I have personal experience, and there are other people as well that have had experience with a group of people, a sliver of folks that support this guy, that are not normal people. Now, I have, like I said, tried very, very hard to maintain politics out of this, and I'm not going to go back into it. If anybody wants to, they can go back to my videos from a year ago and see my entire issue with the man. But when we talked about this issue with the Fitzgerald and the McCain, and when we talked about the incoming missile that either was or wasn't fired, almost unanimously, the response from the people watching my videos was that it was an Israeli cabal, deep state, Dolphin-class submarine. I mean, literally, that was the exact quote from hundreds of people. I literally had to put those terms into my filters because they were just inundating the channel. And so they associated Israel with the deep state and people that were against Donald Trump. Well, we saw last night in the State of the Union that clearly he has absolutely no problem with Israel. He was unequivocal with his support of the Jews and support of Israel. Consequently, I have, when I made the allegation that maybe it might have been Russians or it might have, been these type of people that were spoofing transponders, they, speaking of this group of people that's been attacking the channel, came and inundated us with how Russia is a Christian country and how Russia is really good for us and how they're our ally and all this kind of stuff. And very clearly, last night, unequivocally, and I'm sorry my computer is running slow, if anybody has ever also noticed, a lot of times when I do videos, that you hear the fan going nuts. And this computer is on its last legs. It has been attacked viciously multiple times. The quote, and I don't want to misquote the man, I just want to say his words. Around the world, we face rogue regimes, terrorist groups, and rivals like China and Russia that challenge our interests, our economy, and our values. So I think he was unambiguous last night. And listening to him speak, it was the first time I heard him speak for that amount of time where he didn't address CNN or he didn't address fake news or Hillary or, all of these things that actually Jennifer Hammond's pretty much called it. If you watch her video that she did that day and the day before, she basically gave you an insight into the exact State of the Union. She said, we want to hear about positivity, we want to hear about going forward, we want to hear about America first, and we want to hear about, what the vision is going to be for our country, and why is it going to, what is going to make America great again, what is going to be the things that bring us together and unite us. She said that. She absolutely, go watch her videos for the day before and the day of. And while everybody was talking about, is he going to talk about the FISA memo, or is he going to talk about Q, or is he going to talk about this? Absolutely nothing to do with any of it. She absolutely nailed it. She completely nailed exactly what the man was going to say, almost like she had talked to the guy or something. It was really, really, really strange. There's 5 or 6 specific points that he almost took from her video, word for word. I'm not saying that, the president is watching Jennifer Hammond's, but I just find it a very strange coincidence. So, this is what I wanted to cover today, and basically, I guess the summary would be this. The channel is under a vicious, withering assault, and we have been for a very long time, electronically, personally. People associated with our channel have been attacked. They have had their electronics attacked. The assertions made by the people attacking the channel are now provably false about Israel being the enemy of our president and Russia being on our side, from the man's own words. I remember Barack Obama laughing almost at Mitt Romney during that debate where Romney called Russia our greatest geopolitical threat. And here, literally, we have 5 years later an American president talking about terrorist groups and rivals like China and Russia in the State of the Union. So, maybe it wasn't so funny after all. So, that's where I wanted to leave today's video. We are going to maintain our focus on this issue for the sailors. There's a lot we haven't covered, and there's a lot of different older videos that I'm sure the newer subscribers to the channel haven't seen. It makes it kind of hard for them to watch the newer videos because we're operating from things we already know about, all of the information in the reports. This issue with the people have also talked about, and this is where I'll leave it, this Russian Su-24 that took out the Donald Cook in the Black Sea or the Baltic Sea. It wasn't a make-believe thing. It really happened. I mean, they've denied it. But they have had this asymmetric warfare capability for a long time. And to say that it might not have been brought to bear, and here's a picture of that they've at least put up, and could have played a role, I think would be naive. I mean, they have these electronics, and there's a lot of evidence that there may have been this type of an issue aboard the Fitzgerald, primarily because in their own report, they say the accident happened, quote-unquote accident, at 01:30, yet no one made any kind of a phone call out to headquarters until 2:20, and then in their own report, the supplemental report, they say they lost communications at 02:40. Now, that doesn't even make sense with logic. 13 minutes go by before they call general quarters, even though I've shown multiple times in 2 different accidents, the Porter and the one we had yesterday, the 2 ships, where it would have happened immediately. The inconsistencies and the lies and the lack of command of the facts and the illogic is irrefutable in this case. And it's more than just naval incompetence. It's more than just the Navy not knowing what they're doing. Something else was going on that night, because the behavior of the people aboard the destroyer were not normal, and the behavior of the people aboard the ACX Crystal was not normal. The electronics information was not normal. The story that was put out was not normal. I mean, everything, when you look at it, screams cover-up. And the fact that we can now juxtapose this with the only channel on YouTube that has taken up this mantle and talked about it at length, being under vicious assault, censorship, electronic attack, and now the other channels that have been associated with it have received the same threats and the same attacks, shows that there's a concerted effort to cover this up. So I will leave it there. Once again, thank you guys. The channel, regardless of all that, has continued to grow. 10,000 subscribers, and probably within the next 2 days we'll cross 4 million views. So it's all about you guys. Appreciate everything you guys do. Keep it up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.